Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Players NIL podcast. My guest today, Dr. Anthony D'Onofrio. Anthony, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great. Anthony, you're the Director of Graduate Sports Leadership at Endicott College in Boston, Massachusetts. And for those of you who will be listening, you can tell by his accent exactly where he's from. He was not born and raised in Texas, ladies and gentlemen. But I love it. It brings back a lot of memories. As I said to you on our prequel here, I have a lot of strong interest and roots in New England, and it brings me home. So it's great. We want to talk about Endicott College and your program. But before we do that, Anthony, we always start off with every guest about why sports are important to you. And it usually starts in your childhood. You were a fan. In Boston, you had great teams. You were just talking about the Celtics teams and the heartbreak Red Sox and Patriots of those days. But then you participated, and how you're using sports to better your life in terms of educational, career opportunities. But let's go back to your childhood in Boston, one of the best sports town in the world. Tell me what your early memories are of sports and athletics.
Absolutely. Along, like you said, with the accent, it came along with the passion for sports. Growing up, playing all kinds of sports, and I played football, hockey, baseball my whole life. And realized as I was getting older, I was very passionate about it. My dad kind of said to me, "Look, you're not going to play professional sports." So, me being the wise guy, said, "Well, I'll work in the business side of sports." So, very passionate. I started the business side probably back in 1990. Being from Boston, I traveled around. I ventured around. Went to grad school in Alabama. I worked in Vegas, Michigan, Colorado, and Alabama, but have always been passionate about it. The business side now brings me to the education side, and I'm just passing along all my experiences, and it's been a fun journey.
Who was your favorite Celtics player when you were young?
Larry Bird. Absolutely, Larry Bird was the best. So grew up around him, very fortunate. Like we had mentioned, the Celtics back in the day was the only team that were thriving, and was always exciting to watch Larry.
For me, it was Dave Cowens. I'm a little bit older than you, but it was old Knicks Celtics rivalry. Dave Cowens, maybe it was because I pictured myself like him. Maybe not the most athletic guy, but no one was going to outwork me, and no one was going to play better defense, right?
Yeah.
How about Red Sox? Who are your baseball guys?
Red Sox back in the day, Yastrzemski was great, and then obviously Clemens. I was fortunate enough to work for almost 12 years with Rich Gedman. Rich Gedman baseball camp, just a great, humble guy, just very knowledgeable. Rich is fantastic, class act all the way. So, again, all those Boston guys I grew up with, very approachable, but I'd say Geddy was up there as well.
Yeah, I remember those days. And Yastrzemski's from Long Island. He's a legend, three-sport athlete, and just a great New England guy. I actually was there at his last game in Fenway Park, and standing at the gate when he pulled in was pretty interesting. But we teach here at the Players NIL, how do you use athletics to better your life? And clearly you have. And just because you weren't a star athlete didn't mean you couldn't take advantage of your passion and your interest and your knowledge about athletics, and you've done that. And then the next step is, how do you use athletics to better the lives of the people around you? And just like the Players NIL, you're in the education space. Tell us about Endicott College. Tell us about the graduate sports leadership program there, and how did it get started? How did you get involved, and some of the principles that you're trying to instill on young people?
Absolutely. So this is my 8th year here at Endicott College. Prior to this, I was in golf sales, and I worked, like I said, mentioned high school athletics, college, and professional sports. But what kind of drew me to this was, again, to give me advocate to students and pass my kind of experiences along. The nice thing about the program, I always kind of, when I'm talking to a potential student, which I pride myself in, we have real life practitioners teaching in the program. Sue Byrne, athletic director at Harvard, Mike Santos, former GM of the National Hockey League, Todd Vesley, athletic director at Dallas Fort Worth. Our amazing advisory board, Mark is on our board as well. Our one-on-one advising, personal touch. Our program's 100% online. It's asynchronous, meaning that you don't have to be online. The professor's online. And then all of our guest speakers and just our career advice. Mark, yesterday you spoke to a gentleman that had graduated from the program. So it's stuff like that I pride myself in the customer service. My tagline is shop us last, kick the tires at the other programs, see if you get the value of our program. And that's what's been making our program successful for the last years, is that I advocate for the student and put the customer service first.
I love it. You know, using athletics to better the lives of the people around you. So I'm old enough to remember that, you know, the high school athletic director in my career, in my life, you know, was probably the star athlete in high school, probably a college athlete, came back, coached for a while. And then, you know, coaching is a difficult profession, takes a lot of time, graduated to administration. And those were the qualifications, right? You were, you know, in this funnel, and it worked great. You know, you hired a JV football coach, and he coached with you for 15 years. Maybe he moved up to varsity. You hired a women's soccer coach, and she coached for 15 years. It wasn't a lot of turnover. People coached who were teachers, so they were in the building. So there was a lot of continuity, which was awesome, and it created, you know, great opportunities for people. I'm not upset about it at all, but I think life has changed. I think business has been brought into athletic administration, and I think today athletic directors need to understand business as much as they do athletics, administration, leadership. But before we get to that, what are some of the hot topics that athletic directors or want to be or hope to be athletic directors need to understand? What are the issues in today's world? Maybe they're athletic, maybe they're political, maybe they're societal. What are the things that you worry about, that you try to educate people about, and that people should understand go into being an athletic administrator?
Absolutely. So that's one of the things, you know, kind of bringing to the forefront, knowing, again, going back to what does the customer want? So in the fall time, we actually do an aspiring athletic directors conference where we have 2 to 3 college athletic directors and 2 to 3 high school athletic directors, where we allow our panel of athletic directors that are currently in the hot seat, and then the last 30 minutes to open it up for questions, like you're saying, you know, asking what are the hot topics. And generally the hot topics are policies and procedures, athletic threat mitigation. With that in mind, using the customer in mind, our 2 of our faculty members, Todd Vesley, a former athletic director of Permian Friday Night Lights in Dallas, Fort Worth, and Pat Driscoll, who's the current athletic director of Austin Prep here in Massachusetts. They're giving our students real life situations. Like I said, athletic threat mitigation. He talks about clear bag policy. He talks about leadership skills, but the real nitty and gritty of budgets. You know, what if your school doesn't have enough money for basketball uniforms? How do you adapt, overcome, and improvise? And it's, you know, we always say the sports industry, it's about pivoting and pivoting quickly. No one would have thought that a pandemic would hit. How do you adapt to those real life situations? So the textbooks are good. We do provide rigor, but at the end of the day, our students, they want a return on their investment. To your point, they want to know in real time. And again, we had talked about this name, image, and likeness. We're adding this on as a course because this is something that's a hot topic. It's important. But, you know, the policies and procedures, the athletic threat mitigations, the budgeting, you know, everything from top to bottom in real time, you know, from scheduling buses. We had Keith Rucker, former NFL player, who's an AD. He didn't realize jumping into being an athletic director, just the scheduling, the busing, all that went into it. So it's all real life practical stuff that these are all everything happening in real time.
How about managing parents? Is that part of the curriculum?
Absolutely. So and that's one of the things that all of our, you know, students and professors will talk about, having a policy and procedure and going through it. And again, at the end of the day, just being upfront and honest in communication. The communication skills are vital. And that's why we really forefront, because originally the program was a master's in athletic administration. We flipped it with the name, the help of the board and the students, saying, we need more leadership skills. We need more leadership. And I think that leadership brings to the forefront of how dealing with parents or challenging situations.
Yeah, no, it's a difficult job, and you know, I talk to a lot of young people that want to get in the sports industry, right? Everyone thinks it's sexy, right? They want to be on TV, they want to be on the sidelines, they want to be in the locker room, they want to be connected, they want to, you know, be proud of, you know, their organization that they work for. And there's lots of jobs in the sports industry. Not all of them are sexy though. A lot of times it starts with, you know, mopping the floors and those kinds of things. You know, it's a great story. The director of NIL at Ohio State University, his name is Logan Hittle. He was a walk-on football player, and in order to pay his bills, he actually cleaned the locker room in the football program, right? And so, you know, those stories don't get talked about enough. You know, we just hear about the superstars, but I tell young people, I think there's a great opportunity in name, image, and likeness. So what is name, image, and likeness? It's really about personal branding and marketing. And in today's world, using digital media, using social media, using modern digital communications for promotions, I think it also applies to athletic directors, because you mentioned something very important: budgets, right? Everyone wants the latest uniforms these days. You know, when I was there, when I was a freshman, I think we wore 10-year-old varsity uniforms that had been passed along, right? Today, every 7th and 8th grade team wants new uniforms every year, right? And you know, then there's also the, you know, the safety issues, right? There's lots of changes in helmets and football and hockey equipment, you know, all these protective things. So budgets are way different. So managing a budget includes marketing, promotion, fundraising. These are business skills. You need to develop a business plan. So I agree with what you're saying, and I hope that, you know, your program continues to develop student athletes who want to be athletic directors in the business side of being an administrator too. Any thoughts about that?
Absolutely. And I think just to kind of go back one step, like you had mentioned, that when folks get into this business, I said, listen, you're going to be working long hours. You're not going to make a gazillion dollars. You have to be passionate about it. And you really have to kind of dive in there. But, you know, someone, again, a young professional coming in, that we're realistic with them. You know, we're not going to say, you know, you're just going to be working from 9 to 3. You watch the basketball game, football game, you eat popcorn, you go home. Like you mentioned, you're going to be mopping the floors. You're going to be, might not have basketball uniforms. How do I, you know, adapt to that? In second piece to that, my dissertation was on professional athletes, male and female, and how they transition into a post career. And this is one of the things that say that, well, geez, have you taken a look that you guys have leadership skills? You're very passionate. We can help you prepare for that next stage of your life. But we're brutally honest with them. We don't sugarcoat it. Look, you guys are going to have to put in these long hours, and, you know, we'll help you prepare for budgeting, crisis management with our real life practitioners. And then, oh, by the way, there's a step further. You guys want to talk about name, image, likeness? We have a Mark that you can talk to. So I think we throw everything at them that definitely prepares them for that next stage in the sports industry.
I love it. I think it's so vital. It's so important. I'm so excited about your program, and I'm excited to be part of it. Thank you for including me on the advisory board. What's a perfect candidate to be an athletic director? What does it take? What's the personality? What's the inside of that male or female young person that makes a good athletic director?
They definitely have to be passionate. Passionate about the industry. Like I tell folks early on, you can't take things personal when you are, you know, putting your resumes out there. The first step there, it's like sport. You know, you're going to get knocked down. You got to get back up. But, you know, beyond being passionate, you have to be able to adapt, overcome, and improvise, and knowing that every day is going to be different. So if I can see someone and they're passionate about it and excited, and I'm like, look, you know, you're probably going to be in a situation that you might have some budget restraints. You're going to have some parent issues. You're going to have some busing schedule issues. If you can get through all that, you're going to have a long career in it. But beyond that, you're going to have resources, because what I say to folks here that we're looking at the program, once you're done with the program, you have a connection for life. You'll always have a connection with me and a resource. Great example, Mike Santos, our sports law professor. Our athletic directors will have a question, a legal question. They can bounce it off to Mike, and he'll help kind of navigate. So I think knowing that you can do this, you're passionate about it, and not afraid to take challenges, chances, you'll be fine.
I love it. I love it. Where can people learn more about your program? How can they contact you? What are the websites and the social media things that you're doing to make yourself available?
Well, and we mentioned before, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn every single day promoting our courses in our program. My email address is adonofri at endicott.edu. My contact, 857-888-1222. I'm available 7 days a week. And certainly reach out to me there. But any questions at all about the program, please reach out to me or Mark. Any information I can give you about the program or just advice in general in the sports industry. And like I mentioned, we have all free conferences. Folks are more than willing to join. We actually have a Preparing for a Career in Sports conference coming up at the end of the month. I can share that with you as well for any folks out there looking to get into the sports industry. Last thing I will say, our courses run every 6 weeks in the fall, spring, and summer. It's a rolling admissions. You can jump in. In our price point, we're just under $22,000. That's why we say shop us last, kick the tires at the other schools, and reach out to us as well.
And start to finish, how long does it take to complete that then?
Typically, it's taken folks about a year and a half. It's 10 core, 3 electives. They get to choose the electives. I usually navigate them on the electives based upon if they want to work in professional sports, college, high school, college, for example. Sue Byrne, the athletic director from Harvard, teaches our fundraising course. So there's a flavor for everyone that wants to work in the industry. And I'll actually connect them with the professor to talk about the course material to see if it's a good fit for them as well.
What I love about it, Anthony, is it's real world experience. You know, you're
Absolutely.
teaching things that they're actually going to apply to from day one on the job. You know, there's not some theoretical program that you may never use and you'll lose that book in 6 months, you know. So I want to thank you for being a guest. I love what you're doing. I think what you're doing is really important for young people. For those of you out there wondering how you can be in the sports field, this is a great angle. Get your master's from Anthony's program at Endicott College. Learn about all the aspects of athletic administration, in particular, starting next year, NIL, which will be a hot topic for everyone in the industry. Anthony, thanks again, and good luck to your Celtics. Good luck to your Patriots. Good luck to the Red Sox next year, and good luck to everyone in Boston.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you having me on today.